Hi guys, happy Tuesday. I don't know if you've officially met Rory, but this is my Rory, so she is always hanging out with me while I'm working. And she just really wanted to say hi because she's been laying on my lap while we make some videos. Hi guys, it's Tuesday. Let's talk about preset timing today. Now there are some times when we're making cues and you need position to fade faster or slower than color. Maybe I need something to snap and maybe something to fade, or maybe one to delay before the other moves. This is when we're going to worry about preset timing. And maybe not, worry is not the right word, use. Okay, so I have a blank cue here and I'm going to start by just grabbing my spots, maybe putting them at full fan out in blue. Great, love that cue. Store cue 1. Overwrite. Okay, so this is my cue 1. And we're going to go to my cue, clear out the programmer. All right, so in my next cue, my lights are going to move and the color is going to fade. Simple. Let's go and grab our spots again. Maybe we change them to be white and they're going to go to center. Okay, love it. And back to my correct view. Awesome, so store cue 2. Okay, so without any timing, very simple, they snap and they go. Cool. But how do we make it fancy? How do we make it fit with whatever our music is doing? So if I simply add a 5-second timing to Q2, and let's go Q1, and then go Q2, they all move and fade together. However, I would actually like the color to fade first, and then the move to happen, or maybe I want the move to fade first, and then the color to happen at the end. This can be done with preset timing. So I know here I want my fade set to 5. And my preset timing is not turned on by default. So that's awesome. We can go turn it on together. In the MA button in the top left-hand corner, I'm going to go to columns. I'm going to scroll down in my columns and you're going to find a bunch here called dimmer fade and delay, position fade and delay. I'm going to go ahead and actually going to make them all visible. I'm going to use my keyboard so I can easily lasso all the ones I need and set it to yes. Now when I scroll over, I have all of these timing columns here. Now in these columns, I can individually change the fade and delay for that preset type. So I want color to delay by 5 seconds and fade over maybe a half a second. So now when I hit go on this cue, you can see they go back to where they were before. I hit go and the movement happens. And then at the end of that movement, there's like a little shh and they turn white. So this is how I would do stuff like this all in one cue. Now, another way I like to do this, because sometimes I don't want to go all the way down here. I don't want to change views and we all have different workflows. I'm going to take this timing off. And then as I'm storing my cue, sometimes I'll just parse the information into different part cues, then kind of decide what I want to do with that information from there. So for instance, I know I want the color to fade in a different time. So I'm going to go back to my presets here, grab my spots gridded group and change them to white. And we're going to store this in Q2 part 1. Now I have it separated out. I have position in one and color in the other. And it's the same concept now. Instead of me having to go all the way over to my preset time columns, which turned off because I didn't save them into my view. Store things into views if you want to keep them. I can go and hit fade for my color to be 1, or maybe a half a second like we did before, and a delay of 5. Now if I hit go on Q1, and then hit go on Q2. So we're getting the exact same look. We just found a different way of creating this look. And you can see at the end there was a shh, and it went to white, and it faded with the music there at the end of the movement instead of me putting it into separate cues. Now you might say, okay, but this is great, Arad. That could have just been a follow cue. Like, what's the purpose of this? The purpose of putting it in a part cue or with the timing is maybe I want this to happen at the end of the movement before it's not done yet. So now if I hit go on my cue, you're going to see that the white movement happens just at the last half a second of the position movement. So they're doing that like last there together, which is great. This can also be done with a time cue. So another way of doing this would be, let's separate this into 2 cues. Move Q2 part 1 at Q3 part 0. There, so now they're in separate queues. And the same thing can be done with a time queue. So if I set this to time now and leave the timing the same, so still that 4.5 delay and that half a second fade, I'm gonna hit go on Q1. So we're back to where we started. And then hit go again, and you can see that movement's now happening over 5 seconds. There's a delay, and then that last half a second, there's the push. So we just looked at 3 different ways to create this look. We looked at preset timing, we looked at part cues, and we looked at just using separate cues with that time function. Like so many other things in MA, there are 3 ways to do everything, but I have found personally in my experience with timing cues that knowing all 3 of these methods is what helps me get the job done in the end. Because there are moments when I'm like, oh, this method's better for this and that, and though I can't list them off the top of my head right now because in the moment you're just trying to get stuff into the desk onto the stage, I can tell you that I have used all 3 of these methods. So becoming familiar with all 3 of them will help us work on our timing going forward.